Hello, thank you all for being here today. Today's learning burst, we have cooking with and for children featuring the wonderful Michelle Estrada. So Michelle, I'll pass it to you. We're having a little trouble hearing you. I don't know if that's just me. Oh, there you go.
Oh, okay, thank you. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I know you're busy. I know you're tired, but hopefully I would not let you fall asleep. So we're going to start with our presentation today. And we're going to show our screen right now. And I am so excited because today we're going to talk about culture, not in the kitchen, because when we're in the classroom, we don't necessarily have a kitchen, but that's what we're going to do today. And I'm not going to be able to move it, Marianne. So Marianne is behind the cameras and she's going to help me with this. Let me see if I can do one more thing so I can do this. From production, that display. It was working a while ago, and now I don't know what is going on. Side display. No, I think the TV is off completely. But let's see. Let's go to the. Marianne is going to help me to change the slides, and you can see the slides, right?
Yes, we can see that.
Okay, perfect. So like I said, today we're going to be talking about culture in the classroom or in the kitchen if you have your kitchen. So we're going to go to the next slide. And cooking is a universal act that brings everyone together. Who doesn't? Well, not everybody likes to cook, right? But everybody likes to eat. Oh, I think, well, at least I like to eat. So that is very important because that is something when we're working with children or when we're working with adults, it's something that always we have something in common, that is food. Okay, we'll go to the next one, please. So today we're going to be talking, we're going to have a little bit of an introduction about child development and how cooking or food activities can help our children. And then I'm going to share with you a Taste Around the World project. This is an idea that I have, the way you can present or you can work more when with your children when you're referring to food activities. Then I'm going to share between that cooking ideas and resources. And at the end, you will get the link so you can get all these resources in one place. Let's go to the next one. So I shared these in the past, but I think it's very important to understand how Nayek is telling us that when we're incorporating anti-bias approaches in a program, it's less about doing physical changes in the environment, but it's more about really promoting opportunities for everyone. Okay, so when we're talking about culture, that's what we want to have. It's not just about having pictures of different cultures around our classroom, but it's also about, having those experiences, having those interactions with the children and trying to learn from them and also let them learn from us what is their culture or what is their culture. So food is culture, but it also has culture. So there are food rules in every culture, such as what ingredients, who eats what, and when, and how it's served, right? And if we will have a conversation right now between us, we will find those differences. So it is very, very important that we have those conversations. We can, because this way we will learn more and we will have more ways to explore the differences, but also the things that are very similar. So just to go back a little bit, like I said, I mentioned this before, but I want to be sure that when we're talking about food activities or cooking activities in the classroom, I want to be sure that all educators know why they're important. In here we have like math. Following recipes teaches counting, measuring, sequencing, sorting, and fractions. Working with food teaches shapes and colors. Then when we're talking about reading, we can have cookbooks, recipes, and they're going to be able to, with these resources, we can teach through cooking and reading recipe books and the use of cooking terms, and we can build more vocabulary. Now, science, we know that when we're cooking with children, we see a lot of science there. So we can let the children explore in the kitchen. There's so many opportunities to learn about how food grows and observe how food changes when we're cooking, and of course, when we're using all our senses. So in the next slide, we're going to be talking about, again, creating art. When we're working with food, and today we'll see a little bit of that, we can create art, right? So we want those dishes to look colorful. We want cut in different shapes, and that will help to help the children to create different things with the food. Culture and history, and that's what we're talking about today. So when we provide opportunities with food activities, the experiences of other cultures, and today I want to share that with you. Then we have nutrition and health. Proper food handling teaches food safety and hand washing. And I want to mention a little bit more about in this area because one of the things that I'm committed when I'm teaching these cooking classes, we can find recipes about cookies, desserts, things that we try not to encourage children to eat because they're having those things anyway. But when I'm planning my cooking classes, I really want to find those recipes that are good, that the kids will have a good experience, but at the same time, they're using healthy ingredients or those ingredients that they have a high value of nutrients. And then now we talk about social skills. Cooking together uncovers the importance of being responsible, working together, sharing, completing a task, and feeling confident. A few days ago, we were doing a summer camp. And yes, we were working with older children, but even with older children, I could see like some of the children, they're not used to work as a team because in the schools right now, they do a lot of worksheets or they do a lot of they have to work because they have so many assignments and they have to do so many things. They don't have the time to work as a team. And when they go to extracurricular activities, they have these opportunities to work as a team. So we want to be sure that during those early years, we're giving those opportunities to the children so they can learn more and they can be ready when they get older and the opportunities maybe not be at all the time. Then physical development, of course, we see a lot of things. Eye hand coordination when they're cutting, when they're kneading, when they're, all those things that we have in the kitchen. They will be able to practice a lot of things that we always talk to the parents like they are not writing yet, but they will need those pre skills to be able to write or to do other things, right? So I wanted to be sure that you understand, and I'm sure that you do, that you understand the importance of doing food activities with the children. So now let's talk about the cultural project that I was talking about in the beginning. I call it A Taste Around the World, but you're more than welcome to change the name if you're planning to do something like this. I remember as a teacher, when I was in the classroom, uh, you're busy all the time and you're trying to have your lesson plan and trying to be sure that you're helping all the children, and that you're including everybody in your lesson plan. So one of the things that I thought about is like, if you want, I know doing cooking activities, it can, you may need to spend a little bit more time on those cooking activities. So I was thinking to do it maybe like once a month. You can do different countries and select to learn and celebrate a country's foods and traditions. Today, I only have ideas about how to do it for food activities. But of course, you can add any other activities that you will love. Like, while I was planning for this, I'm like, oh, and I could do this and I could do that. Of course, I'm not in the classroom yet anymore, but there's so many things that you can do when you're trying to show your children to learn about different cultures and about the world. So the objectives of this project is to explore the culture, the heritage, the backgrounds and traditions of each child and family within the context of their community. So you want to be sure that whatever cultures are represented in your classroom are the ones that you want to attend to pay more attention, right? But that doesn't mean that you're not going to talk about other countries. So implementing cultural learning experiences for young children, it's important because, we never know what the future will bring to us. And if we want to encourage, we want to expose those children to different cultures, to different languages, so they may decide to learn a new language or to travel when they grow up. And another thing that I mentioned this a little bit, to engage in a positive sensory experiences with a variety of healthy foods. Again, normally when I do my classes, I try not to include ingredients that may not be the best option. So I try to go into the fruits and vegetables, and it was hard. I'm going to be honest. Putting together this presentation and these resources that you're going to get, it was not easy because for some countries, they like to eat a lot of comfort foods. So it was really hard, but I did my best. Hopefully you would like the recipes that I'm going to show you today. So one thing that is very, very important is awareness, right? So just when we're trying to figure out about how children notice differences between people, at about age 2, children begin to notice gender and racial differences. At 2.5 or so, children learn gender labels like boy and girl in the name of colors, which they begin to apply to skin colors. And then around 3 years of age, children notice physical disabilities. In about 4 to 5 years old, they start to display gender appropriate behavior and become fearful about differences. And that's what is so important to talk about differences. Sometimes it can be hard to talk about differences, but when we do that, especially when we're talking about race or when we're talking about cultures, I feel like the more you know about different cultures, the more that you're going to value your own. So, and this happened to me like every time that I go to Mexico, I go to Mexico and I see the good things that are around, the food, the people. And then when I come back, I see the good things about the food in here and about the people. So it's kind of like, you would like to have everything in, like all the good things that you see in both cultures, or if you're exposed to another culture, that too. So why we want we want to include more culture in our classroom, and why we want to include more cooking activities. Sharing early learning with culturally diverse families and community mean more than just being aware of that families have different cultures and heritage. It means being sensitive and receptive to all families. Ensure the practices in your early learning service are inclusive and that differences are valued. So when we talk about these, I remember when my children were younger, especially when my son was younger. I remember he came one time. He didn't learn English until he started going to preschool. So one day he came back and he said, my teacher told me not to speak. And that didn't happen in preschool, that happened in kindergarten. So he was okay speaking Spanish in preschool, but when he started in kindergarten, they told him not to speak Spanish around other people. And maybe the teacher, she didn't know that he felt more comfortable with Spanish because he didn't learn Spanish or English until he went to preschool. So he was just getting a little bit more comfortable. So just little things like that, sometimes it can, you know, cause maybe not being as confident for children. Like he didn't want to talk because he was not allowed to talk in his language, or he didn't want to share things from the Latino culture because he thought it was wrong to share things like that because the teacher told him not to speak Spanish. So I just wanted to be sure about that. And here right now in the screen, you're going to see, I love this poster. It talks about if the world were 100 people, this is what we'll have. And I'm not going to mention everything, but this is just to give you an idea of, and maybe you already see it in your classrooms. It's not just American children, right? You're seeing a variety, and sometimes it's not just one race, but children with multi races. So it is important that we understand that, especially in the United States, we have a very diverse group of people. So it is, like I said, this is just, it's fascinating to see. But we can go to the next slide. So the first thing that I thought about that will be very, very important is, again, to learn about what we have in our classroom, what we have in our centers. If we're doing this project, like one teacher takes 1 month, she's in charge of this project, we want to be sure that we're representing all the cultures. And today I want to, this is a disclaimer, that I don't have all the countries. Basically what I did, I just got different books, and I'm going to show you the books in here. Basically I got all these books, and I said, well, if they are really, if this is what you're, like, it was a good book, and I tried to match it with the country, or it was about that country. So that's why I don't have all the countries, but hopefully in the future we can add more countries. So the first thing that I have in here is a resource to learn about the culture of the family, right? And this is a great way. This is not for the child to fill out, but for the family. But it's a good way for childcare providers to mention to the children and say, I want you to talk to your family and to learn, where are you from? What are the languages that you speak? What are some foods that you like? So what are some celebrations that you will you celebrate? So all those things. And you're going to see here also that I have 2 handouts, and I'll show you, if we have time, I'll show it to you at the end. But one of the handouts, it's for the families to learn more about the culture and to learn how to help their children to be more cultural aware. And the other handout is for educators, and it's an amazing handout that gives you resources, and it gives you a little bit more like how to understand the different cultures in your classroom. Oh. We're waiting for the slide to go. Okay, just go out of, okay, I'll help you. Okay, so now the first thing that we can do is to teach children about maps, right? And if we have a big map in our classroom, we can purchase a map. They're not that expensive. Or if you have access to a printer, we can print a map. And actually, I gave you a resource for these. But basically what we want to do, we want to tell the children where are, like, if we're starting with the United States, let's find United States and put a sticker there, and let's talk about the United States. And then as we go to talk about other countries, we'll put stickers in other countries. Okay. Now, here are the resources that I was talking about. There is a printable free map for you. Also, there's an amazing book. I think it's a little bit old, this book, but I really enjoy it. I don't know if any of you have the chance of reading this book, but it's called Me on the Map. Very easy. The way the story goes is very, very easy. Also, we have a video about maps and directions. I love that video. It's not, I put the time there, the duration of the video. It's like 3 minutes, I think. I cannot see that far, but um, especially at the beginning of the video is very good information. If you're allowed in your childcare center to show videos, this is a really good video for the children to understand how maps work. But if not, the book is really good. Then I have the link for the read aloud for the Me on the Map. And also I have a song to kind of basically to introduce the children to this project. And you may be familiar with this song that is talking about how to say hello in different languages. So I'm just going to play a little bit about this book, the read aloud, and hopefully you can hear it.
Me on the Map by Joan Sweeney, illustrated by Annette Cable. Me on the Map by Joan Sweeney, illustrated by Annette Cable. This is me. This is me in my room. This is a map of my room. This is me on the map of my room. This is my house. This is a map of my house. This is my room on the map of my house. This is my street. This is a map of my street. This is my house on the map of my street. This is my town. This is a map of my town. This is my street on the map of my town. This is my state. This is a map of my state, Kansas. This is my town on the map of my state. This is my country, the United States of America. This is a map of my country. This is my state on the map of my country. This is my world. It is called Earth. It looks like a giant ball. If you could unroll the world and make it flat,
Then I'll talk a little bit.
it would look something like this map of the world. This is my country on the map of the world.
So with this book, if you notice, it's very easy reading, especially I was very surprised because of this kind of topic, especially for young children. So the way this book ends is that it goes now backwards, like it goes from my world to my country, to my state, to my town. So I noticed that many children, like I said, I work with different ages, and it gives me a lot of curiosity when I start asking children, where are you from? And sometimes they don't know where they are or where are they from. So very important that they learn those things since, when they're little. And these, like I said, it's a great book to do it. So after we teach them about maps and how to and about their countries, about their states, about their towns, we can start talking with the children about a passport. So I made you a passport. I know we can teach the children what is the function of a passport and how it works. And you can basically just do a blue piece of paper and you just put Marian, if you can, I'm showing this, sorry. Like this is what I made for you, and you can just print it. And basically it's just different. I have the world travel passport in here, and then we have the world so the children know about the world, and they can put their first name, last name, birth date, and their signature. And then every time that they go to a country, you can decide, I put stamp, but you can decide if you want them to draw the flag or to draw something special about that country. And we have space for notes and also when we did the trip to that country. So this is one option. And if we go to the next slide, we also have different resources for you. There's a very popular website that you can order passports, and that will be, I think you can order like 25 passports for $7. So that is another option. And I have another resource with airline tickets, and I think it's a boat or ship tickets and train tickets. I didn't make those, but I put that resource in our resource link. So if we want to start with United States, right? Because that's where kids know, and we want to be sure that we are all on the same page. So here's also a link for a printable free map from United States. And then in our presentation from last year, we talk a lot about North Carolina. So you can use the resources from that presentation to talk a little bit more about United States and North Carolina. And this is part of our presentation from last year. Okay, so we're going to go to the next slide, Marianne, please. And the first country that we're pretending in here that we're going to visit is China. So again, you have a printable free map, and you have this wonderful book. My goodness, I know you have a hard time finding preschool books. It was very hard, especially because the books that I wanted to get, there were books that I want them to show the culture of a specific country. I just wanted one country per book, so I will not confuse children. And I also wanted that book to have something related to food. And that was very hard to find. But this particular book was one of my favorites, and it's Amy Wu Perfect Ball. And it is very easy to read, and it talks about, her day and like things that children normally will do. But also it talks about how to do ball and how to make ball. And like she has a hard time making them, and she has a plan, but then she has a hard time making them. And then after she practice, they get better. So a really good book. Like, I don't like to buy books if I don't know if they're going to be good. So, or appropriate for the level that we're working. So this is a great book, not just for little ones, but also for a little bit older children. And I'll also put the read aloud there. That's one thing that I like to do. I just go and watch a video, and if I think that that's a good book, I purchase the book. Or like I say, sometimes the children like to watch a video and it's about the book, or having the book and having the video is a really great way to work with the children. So we're going to go to the next slide. So today we're going to make sesame noodles, okay? And again, another thing that I want to be sure that everybody understands, when I do these programs, because I was a preschool teacher and I know how hard it is to work with, 18 children at the same time. And I know that we don't have a kitchen. So these recipes are created for you to have them, to be able to make them in the kitchen, in the classroom. There are a few things that maybe we have to do in advance. And another thing that since 2020, I start packing everything individually to prevent contamination or, passing germs from one plate to the other one. So each child will get their own thing. And again, I love when they have the opportunity to have teamwork. In this case, with the cooking, we don't have teamwork, but with the cleaning, we work as a team. So today we're going to start doing that recipe, and I have a picture recipe so you can do it with your children. So I'm going to come on this side of the kitchen. I'm going to move my papers in here. So in this tray, I have all the things that I'm going to need for one child. So I'm going to grab my recipe, and I'm going to need 3 ounces of cooked Chinese noodles. And I'm going to be honest with you, if you cannot afford Chinese noodles or it's too hard, these are ramen noodles. We just don't use the condiments, okay? So we have the noodles. We're going to need 1 tablespoon of shredded carrots. So again, this is how we pack all this stuff for the children. If you can do it in a different way, if you have volunteers that are going to help you to serve while you're working with your children, you also can do it that way. This is basically for food safety reasons, because we travel to the schools. Then we have 1.5 tablespoons of soy sauce. Then the next ingredient is a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. Then we have 1 teaspoon of honey. And where is my honey? Okay, I don't see my honey, but that's okay. And then we have 2 tablespoons of sesame oil. Okay, we have 1 teaspoon of rice vinegar. We have tahini, and this is basically sesame seed paste. And then we have our peanut butter. So I know in the classrooms is very hard because sometimes we have children with allergies. So what we use is called it's a soy soy butter. So, and there's a brand for that one that I will now share with you. But if you have questions, you can always email me and I'll give you the brand name. So, and we're going to need a bowl, and we're going to need our fork, of course, to eat, and our spoon. And all that stuff, it's already on your recipe. Okay, so then, of course, our first step is to wash our hands. Then we need to mix all the ingredients except the noodles and the carrots. So I'm going to put in here all these. So from some of these ingredients, children may know some of these ingredients. Other children may not know any of these ingredients, but normally like peanut butter, they know. And what I love about these ingredients is the smell. So please let the children explore and use their senses. Even if they want to lick some of these by themselves and they want to taste, it's okay, because this is their bowl, this is their plate. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put all these ingredients in here. Okay. And that's what you will tell the children. But of course, you will stop and let's smell the garlic. Have you ever had powdered garlic before? Do you think it smells stronger than the fresh garlic, or it's different? So we have the tahini here. You can talk a little bit about the tahini and the differences. We have the sesame oil, and they can try this one because it has kind of like a strong flavor. Okay, we have the rice vinegar, and you can start talking about, what is rice vinegar if you want. Like, again, there's so many different ingredients that you can talk about, and some of the children are going to say, ooh, stinks, or things like that, because there are very strong flavors and smells in here. So then if we go to the next step, it says that we need to mix this very good. So this is when we're really teaching our kids like fine motor skills, right? Because we want them to be very careful, and we can tell them from the beginning, you know, we don't have any more ingredients, so you really need to hold your bowl while you're mixing. And in the beginning, we're going to have a lot of accidents, but as they, you know, as accidents happen, they're going to be more careful the next time. And that's what I think is so important. Um, when we do these kind of classes like once a month, the children like get into that routine of like, oh, or like they get excited about, I really want to have a taste of the world. Or they cannot wait for that taste of the world. And again, it's not just about cooking. You can add any other activities from games, crafts, anything that you may think will be really good. Okay. So I'm already mix all these ingredients. And what I'm going to do now, okay, and you can tell, you can show the children like how do you want this dressing or sauce to be. Okay, so we can show it to them. And then you're going to use around 3 ounces of noodles. I try to make the portions small. So if they don't like it, you're not wasting food. But remember, we are not wasting food. We're giving children the opportunity to taste things that they may never taste before. Okay, so we're going to just put our sauce in here. And then we're gonna mix our noodles. Okay. One thing that I really recommend that when you make your noodles, be sure that they still hot. So just do it just before they take, if you're using ramen noodles, it takes like 3 minutes. So just make them before they're gonna use them. Okay. And again, there's some prep, but I try to make it as easier as possible. But again, when you're talking about international dishes, it's not that easy. Okay, and especially because there's some ingredients that they're hard to find. And what I'm trying is to use ingredients that you can find, especially if you're in places that they don't have access to a lot of stores. Okay, so this is ready. And now what we're going to add, we'll just add the carrots. Okay. And I hope we're good on time. And this is the way our noodles would look. Okay. I don't know, like right here. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments, and I will be more than happy to stop, and then we can talk about any questions or comments that you may have. And
Michelle, we
yes.
do have a question in the chat.
Oh, okay.
So Rochelle asked, are you draining off all of the water to the noodles?
Yes, thank you so much for that question. Yeah, you will drain the water. If you're going to take it to your classroom, just leave a little bit, just so there's not too dry by the time, you know, they get a little bit cold. And also, I would not recommend to eat these when it's completely like room temperature. It tastes better. As soon they finish, they need to taste it. And also because food safety. Thank you for that question. Any other questions or comments? Are you still awake? I'm trying to keep you awake. Are we doing good? Okay, so we're going to go to our next slide. And this is a wonderful book that I think it's a little bit harder for children, for preschool children, but it's called The Freedom Soup. And the message about this book, it's amazing. So here in Wayne County, we have a lot of families from Haiti. And I was actually introduced to this book by the library, by our public library. And the message is just amazing because they're making soup and then they talk about, you know, being free in a country that was not for many years. The people that with limited resources, they were not allowed to eat from the soup. They were the ones that had needed to prepare the soup, but they were not allowed to eat the soup. So I'm not going to tell you about the book, but great book. A lot of, I just want to show you a lot of words. So I was thinking like the way that you maybe want to share it with the children is to kind of read maybe half of the book in the morning, and then in the afternoon you can finish the book. It's easy reading, but I really like this book. So we're going to go on the other side of the kitchen, and I don't have a recipe for these. You can see me. No, if not, we'll go to the other side. Okay, that's fine. I'll go to the other side. Okay, so can everybody see me? No, you can see the presentation right now. So, okay, now we're back. Okay, so what we're doing in here, and this is the way actually during a festival, the families from Haiti shared their traditions with the participants, and they read the book, and then they said, we're going to cook this freedom soup. Okay, so basically it was about pretend play, and this is something that you can read the book, and then the children can kind of like follow the sequence to make this wonderful recipe. So basically, and then also you can talk about the difference in the different ingredients. I did not spend in fresh ingredients because I was spending to show you the recipes, but these are pretend vegetables. But you can talk about, with the freedom soup, we have a little bit of cabbage. Then we also put some carrots. What else? We can talk about the pumpkin, and we can describe the pumpkins and, colors and textures and all those things. And if you want to have fresh, that will be even better. But if not, pretend will be really good. The soup also had some potatoes, and we needed to put some herbs because herbs, they smell so good and they give so much flavor. Okay. And then we needed some celery. And we can cut the celery, we can cut everything, but I'll just put the celery in here. And we also needed some garlic. Okay. And then you can even take it to the play around the house area so the children can make their own soup, and you can learn a little bit more to see what they're saying after they're reading the book. Okay. But really, again, the message is just so good from that book. Okay, we're going to go to our next country. And our next country is Germany, right? And can see. So here is another country that they love a lot of potatoes, meat, and sausage. So, and a lot of sweets. So it was very hard to find a recipe about this in a book. But I chose the Walter the Baker, and you may be familiar with this book. Oh my goodness, where I did with. So by Eric Curl. And I love this book. It is easy to read. It's a little bit long, but I think that would be fine for preschoolers because it's so easy to read. And I think if they already read it one time, they will like to read it again just because it talks about pretzels. So for this activity, I have, if you have ever made pretzels at home, when you are working with real dough, it's not that easy to make a pretzel, right? Kind of have to really work your dough. So one thing that you can do, you can make pretzels if you want. But again, I was trying to make it simple for all educators. And or you can just, after you read the book, you can say, we're going to make pretzels with Play-Doh. And maybe you can purchase some pretzels if you want, or like I said, you can, if it's okay for a parent to make it for you, that will be another way to do this. So you basically will teach the children to how to roll the Play-Doh. And this is just so cool. And to make a good pretzel, you really need a long stick, whatever, snake. Yeah. So we're just rolling, rolling, rolling. And remember all these very good activities of fine motor skills. Okay. So after they do that, and I don't know if the camera can see, so it can be confusing and you may need to practice this a little bit with your children, right? Because what you do is you put them across like this, you cross them like this, then you turn it, and then you have your pretzel, okay? But if you, like I said, if you're doing it with real dough, it can be a little bit hard. So this is a great way to practice those skills, okay? If you didn't get it, got it on the first time, again, that's what I made it long. And the children will discover if they say, is that okay? Is it, I have a long snake or whatever. You say, keep doing it, because you really need a long piece. So again, you cross, then you turn or you twist, and then you put it in here. And there's so many stories about, about pretzels that if you want to read a little bit more about this, that is another way that you can include more information on your lesson. Okay, so I really wanted to give you a recipe for Germany, okay, from Germany. So I look everywhere and I look everywhere, and they have this cucumber salad, creamy salad. And it's called, I'm not going to pronounce it correctly because I tried to study and memorize this word, but I think it's Gherkinsau. I think that's how you pronounce that, but you can double check before you teach the children. And I'm going to have the ingredients in here. So what we're using for this recipe, it's in English cucumbers, okay? And we only need 1/3 or 1/4. I say 1/4 or 1/3. Okay, I say 1/4, and it's going to depend on how long is your English cucumber. Some are very long, others are not. So from the one that I used before, I think we use 1/4. Okay, so also and this is the way we're going to peel it, and we're going to give them 1/4. Okay, the other ingredient that we're going to use is 1 tablespoon of sour cream. So, I'm trying to go healthy. So what we're using is Greek yogurt, a non-fat Greek yogurt. Then the next ingredient is going to be a 1/8 of a salt or a pinch of a salt. And here is my salt. Then we're going to need rice vinegar. Okay. And we're going to need 1/4 of teaspoon of garlic powder. We're going to need optional of 1/4 of sugar. Okay. I will say you may need the sugar, especially with the children. Remember, these are very strong flavors and smells. So introducing children that are not used to these smells, it can be, hard. So giving a little bit of sugar will help, especially in the beginning. So this recipe is really good. I think it's one of my favorites. So the sugar really helps. So 1/8 of pepper. And then we're going to need some dill and parsley, okay? And we're going to need, I forgot to put you need scissors, but you can do it with a knife cutting board, and I love to use scissors. So what I have in here, I use these scissors just for the kitchen, and I always like clean them and sanitize them. And then you're going to need a bowl. So what we're going to do first, of course, we wash our hands, and we're going to ask the children to slice the cucumber. So these are knives that you can purchase online, but you can also use disposable knives. They work the same way. So we're going to ask them to slice them very thin, okay? So we're just going to go like this. And you see, I'm not having a hard time slicing this. It is very easy. So these are the kind of vegetables, again, when we're choosing recipes, we're trying to choose recipes that we can use knives that are safe for the children, okay? And again, one thing that you can start teaching your children is how to hold the knife. So we hold the knife like this, and then like this, and then we curl our fingers, right? So we don't cut ourselves. There's sometimes that when we have habits that we're not using tools correctly, and it's hard to change when we're adults. Okay, so we cut our cucumber, and now we're going to cut our herbs. So I'm going to start with the parsley. Okay, and love this because again, we are practicing all those fine motor skills. So all this is already washed. So you need to tell children, because that's part of the process, right? You know what? I should have put it in the bowl, but that's okay. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put all my herbs in here, because now I'm going to have a hard time picking them up. Okay, so I cut that one, and now I'm going to cut the deal. And remember, let the children smell, touch. Many times we have picky eaters because we don't let them touch and explore the food. Okay, so again, this is so much fun to cut, and the smell is so good. Okay, so we got these. And so the next thing that we need to do, we're going to add the other ingredients. Okay, so we have, again, remember, we're using yogurt, but you can use sour cream. I love with Greek yogurt. And Greek yogurt, it's not my favorite, but for dressings, I love it. Okay, so, and then I'm going to start adding our salt, our pepper, vinegar. And please let us know if you have any comments about these recipes. These recipes, we get them from different sources, but we have to make them work for individual servings. So if something is not working for you, let us know. I'm not going to use the whole garlic because I think we put too much in that container. Okay, so now we're going to ask the children to mix or stir. Okay, and I love, how again, now it's all these flavors, all the smell, and how when we're mixing, it's just every time that we do these activities with children and we're watching their faces, it's just so much fun. Okay, so I have the dressing ready, and now we're just going to add our cucumbers. They don't want to go inside. Okay, and we'll just, the cucumbers are going to take a bath there. Oh my goodness, these looks delicious. And I'm going to go to the camera so you can see it. Let me put a little bit of dressing in here. And again, this is another recipe that they should, oh, here it is. Another recipe that as soon they complete the preparation, they will need to eat it. Okay. Any questions about this recipe or anything in general? Are we doing good? Okay. 4:20. Oh, Miss Marianne already told me that I need to hurry up. Okay. So let's go to our next one. In this one, we're going to talk about Japan. And so with this one, we have a book that is about sushi. And I just love this book. I love the colors. I love how it reads. Look at this. This is just so pretty. And it talks about other words that they use to call sushi in the different kind of sushi. Okay. So with this one, I have another disclaimer. The one that we're going to make is not sushi, right? But we know that sushi is made with raw fish. So we don't want to take any risk. So the recipe that I have, and I'm gonna just go to the next slide. The recipe that we have in here is the banana sushi rolls. And that's the one that we're gonna make. But the next slide, it talks about another one that is a tuna sushi, I think it's called. Well, maybe not the right title, but it's, yeah, tuna sushi rolls. So that is something similar to sushi, but they use tuna. And what you can do, you can use this recipe. You basically made it for the whole classroom and they can just taste. But if you wanted a cooking activity, this is the one that we have for you. And please, every time that you do these kind of recipes that they're not traditional recipes, you know, if you have somebody from Japan, explain them why we're doing it this way, because you don't want to disrespect anyone's culture, but this is the only way that we can do it. Okay, so what we're going to do with this recipe, this is very, very easy. We have peanut butter and we have honey, and what we're going to do, we're going to put the honey on in the peanut butter container. Was trying to find my spoon, but I think I forgot to put a spoon in here. So I'm going to use my fork. So, and then we're just going to mix that very, very good. Okay. And each child is going to get half of a whole wheat tortilla. You can use any other tortillas, but of course we're promoting healthy eating and whole grains. So we have this tortilla and each child will get half of a banana. Okay, so you're going to have to cut the bananas when you're almost ready to serve, because if not, they're going to go black. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do, we are going to spread our peanut butter. Okay. And again, this will be so much easier with a spoon, but I forgot to put a spoon in here. So planning is very important when you do cooking activities, and it's amazing like how much time it will take, but it's worth it. And again, you know, I see it. I'm not in one classroom, but I see it in all the classrooms that we go, all the different churches and places that we go, like how much they enjoy these activities. So I'm going kind of fast just because of the time. But again, they just put the peanut butter like this. Then they will peel their banana, because that's part of learning different skills, right? Oh, this is not a pretty banana. And they will put it in here. Actually, they will put it in one side. And we're going to put some, we know that sushi has rice, right? So we have Rice Krispies. And we're going to put it in here. And then we're going to roll. Okay. One thing that you need to tell the children is not to put too much peanut butter on the edges. If not, everything will go out. But that's part of learning. And be sure that they're tied their tortilla very good. And then they can cut. My knife is not going to cut, but we'll see. They can cut their rolls. And if it gets out of place, mine is getting out of place because it's full of peanut butter. But you see how, oh, how pretty. Now this one is not pretty, but you get the idea. Okay. And again, if you're thinking about peanut butter allergies, just remember that we use the soy butter. That way children don't get. Okay, so we have our sushi, our banana sushi there. Okay, so the next slide talks about Mexico. And I don't have this book because I didn't order it on time, but this book is called Off We Go to Mexico. And it is a fun book, and I put the read aloud there. I really like it. You can teach words in Spanish It tells you about going to the beach, about going to different places, the celebrations, so all that kind of stuff. And with Mexico, I think I have shared recipes before. So check our past presentations for more recipes. But in here, I put a recipe for guacamole. And again, you can use the same way that we did it for Haiti. You can use these taste tests for a Mexican recipe to see who likes guacamole. Okay, and remember, sometimes children only get the guacamole from Mexican restaurants, and it may not the original version. So this guacamole is really good. Okay, we're gonna go to the next one. So this one, it's about Philippines. And again, this is was another book that was hard to find. It is a very sweet story of a girl that wants to help and wants to feel that she's a grown up in the kitchen. So, and she makes some mistakes in the kitchen, but that's okay. And she is, her name is Cora, and she cooks pancit and a very traditional food from the Philippines. And I just love the book. A little bit too many words, but I don't think the kids will get bored because it's something like things that are very familiar with the steps or the story. Okay, so for this sorry that I'm doing this for this activity, remember, it's important to recognize a lot of Philippines, it was hard to find a recipe. So the activity that I have is I found the papayas, and pineapple are very traditional. Actually, they produce a lot of these fruits in the Philippines. So remember when you're doing activities like this, the name of the activity is explore. So be sure that you cut the fruit in front of them so they can see the whole thing. Today, I have someone to ask me what was this, right? So she ate papaya before, but she may never have the opportunity to see the whole fruit. So that's what is so important that we show them how is the whole fruit. And then that we talk about the seeds, and when we cut it, we talk about the seeds, the skin, the flesh, all those things. So, and of course, we need to try it. So like a month ago, we went to the library and we did this. We asked 5 children to come in front, to the front, and we asked them to cover their eyes, and then they needed to try different fruits and vegetables. And it was really cool how some of the children, parents were there with them, and how some of the children said, "Oh, I really like this. I don't know what it is, but I really like it." And when they discovered what it was, and in that case, I think it was sweet potato, and it was raw sweet potato, they were surprised because they didn't like sweet potato. But I guess because they were not looking at the vegetable or the fruit, the vegetable, they were able to really taste it, or maybe they never tried it raw. I don't know. So that was an activity that we did, and it worked out really good with younger children and older children. Okay, we have more time. Okay, so then the next activity is Italy, or the next country is Italy. Another really cool book, very easy to read, and it's called Nana's Little Meatballs. And children may be familiar that in Italy we eat pizza and we eat spaghetti and pastas. So this is a really easy to read, very good for preschool level. So we recommend that book. And we couldn't find a read aloud for that book. Maybe it's an older book, I don't know. But we love the recipe. So for this one, it is Italian bruschetta, and so easy to make. So the only thing that you will need to make in advance, you will need to toast your bread. Okay, so just cut it, slice your bread like this one. I'm going to show you. So just slice your bread, and you're going to put it in a baking sheet. You're going to brush it with olive oil, And that's it, okay? Normally we do it with garlic, but I'll show you what we're gonna do today. So this is just, from the grocery store, and you can find it, not hard to find it. And we're gonna need some garlic, but you need to cut the garlic in half. The kids are gonna use only 1/2. We have some basil, we have olive oil, and we have half of a Roma tomato, and we have some salt. And again, you need a cutting board. Okay. So what we're going to do first, we're going to cut our tomato. Okay. So again, you're giving them half. Okay. And I'm going to start. It's so much easier when you're using knives, plastic knives, to cut it on this side, especially when you start it. If you were teaching knife skills, you will turn it, okay? Because you want a flat part on the cutting board. But this time we're going to cut it like this. So we're just going to slide our tomato. Okay, I'm going to turn it one more time. And then we're going to chop, okay? Very easy. Again, we want to be sure that you know that these tools are working. And tomatoes sometimes can be hard to cut with these tools. I think the disposable knives, they work better than this one, but we're using this one and it still works good. Okay, you just don't want the children to be frustrated, okay? So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna put, when you're moving your food, be sure that you turn your knife so you don't dull your knife with plastic. It doesn't matter, but you're teaching a skill. So you can put this in here. Okay? And then what we're going to do, this one, this time you can cut it with your knife, but also you can cut it with your hands. And that is another skill that we want to teach our children. Okay. And actually with basil, you're keeping these, the flavor. It's better to do it with your hands. Any questions so far, or we're doing good? Oh my goodness, we are running out of time. Okay, so then I'm going to add the salt and I'm going to add the olive oil. Okay. And finally, I'm just going to mix this. Okay. And this is my favorite. It tastes so good. If you like bruschetta, this is it's going to be your favorite. Okay. And then what we're going to do, if this is warm, it will be better because the garlic really takes on that. So what we're going to ask the children after we explore the garlic, we're going to tell the, I almost lose it. We're going to tell the children to basically rub the garlic on our bread. Okay. That's going to give some flavor. I'm going to stop there. Okay. And then I'm going to put the tomatoes on top. Okay. And ta-da, it's time to eat. I don't know if you can see it. Very good. Okay, so I don't have time to do the last recipe, but you have all the information. The book is Not Kimchi for Me, and it's about that it's okay if you don't like some foods, and that's especially it's a hot, it was very spicy food. So very good book. The read aloud. I couldn't find a good one, but there's a lot there, and actually there's one read aloud by the author and the illustrator, so it is a great book. Then we're going to go to our next, that's a Korean kale salad. Let me just tell you a little bit about the kale salad. Very strong, but it's a completely different flavor, so a great opportunity for children to try those very strong flavors. Here is our link if you want to scan the QR code, or I think Emma is going to send you the link so you can have it. And what other thing? Oh, I do not have any Caribbean recipes right now. but I would be more than happy to, like, if we keep doing this, I will put it on your wish list. In anything that you would like, this is what I do. That's why we have this wonderful kitchen. We test a lot of the recipes several times, because I always said, if I don't want to eat it, I don't want anybody else to eat it. So, but I like strong flavors. So that kale salad, it may be too strong for you, but it's delicious. And I don't know if I have another slide, Marianne. For questions and comments. Any questions or comments? Thank you so much for being here. Again, I was a teacher many, many years ago, and I know how hard it is to have a busy day in the morning and then going to a workshop. But I enjoy doing these, and I hope, please send me your ideas. You have my information there. The way I do my workshops is with whatever advice I get from you. You are the specialist, because you're in the classroom and you're with the children. So if you tell me that a recipe doesn't work, we'll try to fix it. I tried those recipes in here, but there are children that they come to summer camps or when we go to different schools. Any other questions or comments? Thank you. And please share it. That's what we want you to do. Anybody else? Any questions?
Well, thank you, Michelle, for a wonderful learning burst. We really appreciate it. I'll make sure everyone gets those resources you mentioned in the wrap-up email.
Well, thank you so much. And I can't wait for the next time to see you.
Thank you.